You still have plantar fasciitis?
Horribly.
Are you still running?
Yeah, I have to.
You have to?
I just love it.
Why don't you get one of them zero runners? Have you seen that thing that I have out here?
Is it a Woodway?
No. It's like a.
It's weird.
It's sort of like an Sort of like an elliptical machine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. If you do go on to enjoy this video, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get right into things. We start things off with Candace Owens on the podcast, and she said that she doesn't believe in global warming and believes it's just a scheme to make people worried about the environment and put money into it. Rogan was shocked by her thoughts on it and explained how she was wrong.
This is an incredibly complicated subject.
Right.
And if you would have to talk to a bunch of different scientists and see how they gather data and see what they understand about CO2 levels and what's the danger of them and what can combat it and what could not. Have you done all this, or do you take this flippant opinion based on the party line?
This wouldn't be the hill I died on, right? But it's not about the party. I just genuinely, I've read a ton about it, but I would not be able to come to you and say like, this is my strong opinion. But here's like the easiest way to say this, right?
Okay.
The fact that there is a disparity in the science community about whether or not it's real is enough to.
It's very little.
Yep.
Very little disparity. Most scientists, the vast majority agree that human beings are negatively affecting climate change.
Yeah.
The vast majority.
Rogan was pretty baffled. Next up, we have Joe Rogan with Josh Zepps as a guest on his podcast. They were talking about the issue of abortion, and well, they didn't agree with each other when it came to some of their thoughts about it. They kept going back and forth, trying to justify their respective views on it.
White people in rural Alabama, I don't necessarily think it's a racial issue as much as a poverty issue.
Yeah,
especially like things like Planned Parenthood and shutting down Planned Parenthoods. They're just going to affect people that don't have much money.
Yep, who are disproportionately people of color as well.
Disproportionately in terms of the actual numbers of human beings, or percentage-wise?
In terms of percentage-wise.
Right, but the actual numbers of human beings, it's not.
Right, but you can understand how it would look bad if
you're
a black woman.
I just think that when you add people of color to that, it accentuates the issue and makes it even more problematic. It makes it more of a big left-wing progressive issue, right, that can't be argued against.
Do you think the optics
discrimination against people of color? Oh, don't want to do that. It's people.
Yeah,
it's human beings.
This whole argument went on for a good 20 minutes, which is pretty insane. Now we have Joe Rogan speaking to Nikki DiPaola, excuse the pronunciation, and they were arguing about Trump and his apparent lies with his dealings with Russia. Joe was in the camp of those who thought that Trump did lie about his dealings with Russia, while Nikki was the complete opposite. The heat turned up a little bit with this debate.
I don't even on what case. I don't even know what they get him. High crimes and misdemeanors. I don't know what he's done. To talk about building a tower in Moscow is not illegal, or to have business. And what did he lie about specifically?
Well, there's a lot.
Like what?
We could pull it up. Let's find out all the things.
What do you got to go to salon.com?
No, you can go to a million different websites.
Well, I know, but which ones are telling that? We just established that the fucking social media tilts left. So
yes, social media does. We're not talking about pulling up social media pages.
What are you pulling up?
I don't know.
Washington Post.
I'm not a Trump scholar. I don't have at my disposal all the different times that he lied, but it's a lot.
DiPaola wanted some evidence of this, and Rogan suggested pulling up some articles, and they just kept going back and forth with each other. Here's Joe Rogan getting interrupted by a guest, and you'll clearly get a little triggered by this. You should just watch his face to see his reaction. He wasn't happy at all.
I've read that there is a certain percentage, whether it's 1/10 to 1%,
I just think you have to look into it when there's a guy
some people get.
When anyone stands to make billions of dollars and institute something that's going to be very...
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Joe Rogan doesn't like being interrupted. Oh boy, in this next one, Joe Rogan was busy speaking until he was interrupted by his guest once again. He was speaking at length about something and then boom, stopped in his tracks. His reaction was quite something. Joe's head was so close to going completely red. Check this out.
There was no camaraderie back then. There was some camaraderie with like door guys and stuff like that, but there was a lot of like... The problem was there was this leftover shit from guys who were all struggling to get sitcoms. They were all struggling to be the host of a talk show.
That's tonic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have soda?
Yeah, it was good, Joe. You're right. It was good when there was a level of acceptance that the place was a failure and that we were just in it for Joe.
His face just changed in an instant, from really concentrated on what he was speaking about to being ready to punch someone in the face. At number 6, this time we have Joe Rogan on his podcast, who had a guest in via Skype. This was an interesting dynamic, and this made things a little difficult already, but the guest himself made Rogan's job 10 times harder than it already was. He just wouldn't let Rogan speak at all.
Yeah, had to do something to stop the spread of COVID-19. Do you think?
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
But hold on.
The government didn't have to bail anybody out.
We have a problem.
We have to deal. We have to deal with our issues.
Peter, we have a problem listening to each other. People that I know who have friends that are on unemployment don't want the economy to reopen because they would lose money. And I was like, my God,
look, I know
what a
people that
conundrum.
can't hire people.
But
you can't get people to work.
Hold on,
Why
please.
should you work? I get more money not working.
So
you know what some people do? They work under the table.
Peter, hold
on,
please.
They get cash.
Jesus
they want to
Christ.
pretend they're unemployed so they can keep getting those benefits. And then they...
Pretty interesting. We end things off with Joe Rogan getting pretty annoyed when he gets interrupted while speaking, and it actually wasn't a guest that interrupted him, but rather someone part of his production team. It's fair to say that Rogan's reaction created a bit of an awkward moment.
You still have plantar fasciitis?
Horribly.
Are you still running?
Yeah, I have to.
You have to?
I just love it.
Why don't you get one of them zero runners? Have you seen that thing that I have out here?
Is it a Woodway?
No. It's like a.
It's weird.
It's sort of like an elliptical.
That was quite the stern look Rogan gave there. It was so intimidating that the guy ended up apologizing immediately. He was probably seeing Rogan really angry and just didn't want to mess with any of that. I think he learned his lesson that day. Never interrupt Joe. Thank you for watching this video, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this and much more. Goodbye for now. We'll see you next time.